Somos un peligro para el partido del Estado, para quienes viven de su expansión ilimitada, para quienes quieren un individuo dependiente y sometido a sus caprichos regulatorios. Y ¿saben qué? Tienen razón, somos su peor pesadilla. Venimos por sus privilegios, habiendo sido elegidos por la mayoría de cada uno de nuestros pueblos, con el mandato claro de quitarles un poder que no les pertenece. Hoy nuestros países, Argentina y Estados Unidos, necesitan pasar por una segunda independencia. La primera nos liberó del poder de las monarquías europeas. La segunda nos liberará de la tiranía del partido del Estado. Por eso hemos puesto tanto esfuerzo en identificarlo, porque no se puede luchar contra lo que no se conoce. Y tener un enemigo bien definido es un aspecto fundamental de nuestra batalla cultural. Ahora ya lo conocemos, le hemos ganado en las elecciones y estamos en proceso de desarmar su leviatán, que es una herramienta de opresión perpetua. No tenemos ninguna fórmula secreta, solo conocer la historia humana y saber qué es lo que ha funcionado y qué no. Por eso, con humildad, quiero reflexionar un poco sobre cómo venimos llevando adelante esta batalla. Nosotros trabajamos con firmeza y de frente, sin dar lugar a compromisos. Defendemos un conjunto de valores que no estamos dispuestos a negociar, así como ellos no han estado dispuestos a negociar a la hora de quitarnos nuestra libertad. Lo que ellos impusieron sin nuestro consentimiento está siendo eliminado sin el consentimiento de ellos. Por eso hemos pasado la motosierra por los sectores y atribuciones del Estado que consideramos superfluos, redundantes, innecesarios o directamente perniciosos para la sociedad. Y más aún, este año emprenderemos la fase 2 de este proceso, que hemos bautizado como la motosierra profunda, para continuar achicando el Estado, devolviéndole a la gente la riqueza que jamás debió habérsele sido arrebatada. Lo interesante es que este proceso de justicia tiene un correlato político, porque por su naturaleza el partido del Estado se financió históricamente de gasto público mal asignado y de negocios turbios con el Estado. Por eso, achicar el Estado es cortarle la manguera a los clientes del Estado enquistado en él, que ejercían un feroz resistencia al cambio, valiéndose el dinero de los pagadores de impuestos para mantenernos subyugados. Nuestro método es similar al de nuestro querido amigo Elon Musk: revisar oficina por oficina, conservar lo que sirve y funciona y descartar el resto. Por eso le obsequié una motosierra. Con nosotros nadie que no pueda justificar el costo de su salario en impuestos está a salvo. Muchos de ellos tendrán que volver al sector privado y ganarse la vida ofreciendo sus bienes y servicios en el mercado, tal como los pagadores de impuestos de los que han vivido tantos años. Mi más sentido pésame a los políticos que creyeron que este momento nunca llegaría y no están preparados, porque se van a llevar un baldazo de agua fría. Por suerte para ellos, en toda desgracia hay una oportunidad y debido a nuestro avance desregulador, los salarios del sector privado seguirán subiendo, por lo que si hacen las cosas bien podrán ser parte del progreso, pero lejos de la casta estatal. Como ya he dicho, esto no es una tarea sencilla. Aquí en Estados Unidos, burócratas rebeldes han intentado sabotear el trabajo del Departamento de Eficiencia Gubernamental y están recurriendo a mecanismos burocráticos y legales para intentar bloquear cualquier reforma, lo cual también sucede en nuestro país y es algo con lo que debemos luchar día a día. Pero nada de eso nos ha tomado por sorpresa. Somos conscientes de que van a hacer lo posible por detener este cambio, sin importar el daño resultante. Si tienen que destruir el mundo para conservar sus privilegios, lo van a hacer. Y nosotros vamos a seguir luchando. Pero hoy el problema se extiende más allá de las penurias a las cuales el modelo del Estado presente ha sometido a cada una de nuestras naciones individualmente, porque la decadencia de nuestros gobiernos durante la historia reciente a lo largo y a lo ancho de Occidente no solo empobreció material y espiritualmente a nuestros propios ciudadanos, también nos debilitó política, económica, cultural y socialmente ante el enemigo externo. Nos volvió moralmente débiles y nos hizo vulnerables ante las peores expresiones de la barbarie, los peores enemigos de la libertad. Y a ellos no se les puede dar un centímetro, porque cuando huelen sangre avanzan envalentonados y sin piedad. Esto quedó demostrado durante los cobardes ataques perpetuados el 7 de octubre de 2023 en Israel, que costaron más de 1.000 inocentes y la captura de 251 personas. Esta semana Israel recibió los cuerpos sin vida de la familia Vivas, que permanecían secuestrados por el régimen terrorista y asesino de Hamas, entre los cuales se encuentra una madre y sus 2 hijos, un niño de 4 años y un bebé de tan solo 9 meses. Es tan inescrupuloso y sanguinario este régimen que, en el último gesto canallesco, no tuvieron mejor idea que exhibir burdamente sus ataúdes ante el vitoreo de una multitud sin el más mínimo respeto. Esto es lo que está en juego y no podemos darnos el lujo de fallar. Por eso es fundamental que las naciones que hemos abrazado las ideas de la libertad permanezcamos unidas y colaboremos unas con otras. Debemos formar una alianza de naciones libres, porque como ya he dicho en otra ocasión, el mal organizado solo puede ser vencido por el bien organizado. Solo mediante esta internacional de derecha podremos ponerle un fin a la casta política a la que nos enfrentamos, que está hundiendo a Occidente en la más oscura profundidad, y recuperar el ímpetu para proteger a las fuerzas despóticas que nos quieren subyugados. Por eso quiero también aprovechar para anunciar que Argentina quiere ser el primer país del mundo en sumarse a este acuerdo de reciprocidad que pide la administración Trump en materia comercial. De hecho, si no estuviéramos restringidos por el Mercosur, la Argentina ya estaría trabajando en un acuerdo de libre comercio con los Estados Unidos que sea mutuamente beneficioso y que no cargue injustamente sobre las espaldas de los productores argentinos, pero tampoco sobre los de los americanos. Esto es así porque solo trabajando juntos aquellos que queremos construir un mundo libre podremos salir adelante. Solo así podremos salir de la pesadilla del Estado omnipresente y así poder seguir haciendo lo que sabemos hacer como Occidente, poner a prueba los límites de lo posible, confiando en la creatividad de la sociedad y no en la discrecionalidad estéril de los burócratas. Solo así podremos retornar nuestro camino de grandeza como civilización, haciendo honor a nuestros antepasados que dieron la vida por ver un mundo libre y una humanidad próspera. Solo así, finalmente, podremos reencontrarnos con nosotros mismos y volver a crear en aquello que nos hizo grande como civilización. Que Dios bendiga a la República Argentina, que Dios bendiga a los Estados Unidos y que las fuerzas del cielo nos acompañen. ¡Viva la libertad, carajo!
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome White House Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller.
Hello, CPAC. Who is ready in just a few short hours to hear from the man himself, our 47th president, Donald J. Trump? My friends, it has been a long road, has it not? It's been a long road, and these last 4 years, every single painful minute. But nothing, my friends, is sweeter or more extraordinary than victory. Who here has enjoyed the last 30 days of America's new golden age? And who here has been filled with pride and excitement in watching President Trump install the most extraordinary cabinet and team any of us has ever seen? Our new Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. Our new Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. And of course, we have at the Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk. White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles. And perhaps the most exciting of all is the fact that every single day, the entire White House staff, the entire administration, the entire cabinet, on behalf of President Trump and his extraordinary leadership, is getting the lies out of our schools, the men out of women's sports, the poison out of our foods, the woke out of our military, the predators off our streets, and the illegal aliens the hell out of our country. It's happening. It is happening. Every day under President Trump, he is saying hell no to DEI. He is saying hell no to CRT. He is saying hell no to the indoctrination of our children. And is saying hell yes to the idea that America belongs to Americans. A historic slate of executive orders have been issued by President Trump to reclaim control of this government, to reclaim control of our destiny, to reclaim control of our future, and to restore the idea that under a democracy, the entire federal bureaucracy works for President Trump and not the other way around. He is the elected head of our government. And to all the people in the media, all the people on the radical left, all the people in the Democratic Party screaming about democracy, Donald Trump is the one who is saving democracy. Donald Trump is the one who is saving our Constitution. Donald Trump is the one who is saving America. And any federal bureaucrat who defies the lawful orders of this president will be fired. President Trump will ensure that whether you work at the FBI, whether you work at the CIA, whether you work at the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, the Department of Health and Human Services, career civil servants, also known as bureaucrats, work for the American people, and they work for the president the American people elected. They do not set their own agenda. They do not write their own rules. They do not work for themselves. They work for each and every one of you. You pay their salaries. You pay for the buildings they work in. You pay for every single thing they do. And if they are not following the laws, the Constitution, and the President of the United States, then they will find a new career. By the way, speaking of the FBI, who here is thrilled about Kash Patel? Let us not forget what President Trump endured in order to get to this point, to climb to the top of that Everest summit. Let us not forget what this whole movement has endured to reach this glorious day. 8 long years of weaponized government, the Russia hoax, the Ukraine hoax, one lie after another, one fraudulent impeachment after another, one hoax, one smear. Government weaponized at every level against democracy. Government weaponized at every level against the people. Democrat prosecutors, Democrat attorneys general, Democrat careers using their power to try to sabotage the democracy of this country, to try to keep President Trump off the ballot, to try to throw President Trump in jail, to try to arrest his aides and his supporters. An authoritarian movement in this country that has at every step tried to stop the workings of our democracy. And President Trump, on a field in Pennsylvania, nearly lost his life. And a few weeks later, another assassination plot. And let me ask you this question. When the lawsuits came against President Trump, when the lawfare came against President Trump, when the weaponized law enforcement and intelligence community came against President Trump, and when the bullets came against President Trump, did he falter? Did he back down? Did he yield? Did he surrender? Did he waver? Or did he stand up tall and strong and raise his fists into the air and say 3 immortal words, fight, fight, fight? Every day, that is what he is doing for you. He is fighting for your families. He is fighting for your children. He is fighting for your future. He is fighting for the fundamental idea that this country belongs not to the bureaucrats, not to the radical left communists, not to our foreign enemies, not to the criminal cartels, not to the criminal aliens. This country belongs to the law-abiding, patriotic, God-fearing American citizens. It belongs to the people in this room, and it belongs to the patriots watching at home today. I want you to know that every single morning President Trump wakes up and he thinks about you. And all day long, as he's signing executive orders, as he's meeting with world leaders, as he is orchestrating and directing the actions of this government, he is thinking about you and your future. President Trump's heart beats for the American people. President Trump's heart beats for the American Republic. And President Trump's heart is filled with nothing but love and loyalty for this republic. No president has done more in 30 days than President Trump has done. But we need you to stay in the fight. It is not enough to celebrate the victories we've achieved thus far. Every single day, we need, and President Trump, our president, needs you to be involved in pushing this agenda forward, promoting every single victory, every success, every agenda item, being involved at every level of politics to keep driving forward. You think they're just going to give us our country back? You think they're just going to roll over, move out of the way, stop their scheming and their lying? Or do you think we are going to have to be on top of it every single day, focused every single day, driving forward every single day with unrelenting focus and passion? Because God gave us this country. Our founding fathers fought and died for this country. Generations of Americans have sacrificed and bled for this country, and we are not going to let the radical left, the communists, and the America haters take our country. It's not going to happen. Not now, not ever. But it's going to take everyone in this room to stand with President Trump each and every day, to stand by his side every single day as President Trump boldly and bravely leads us into this golden age. And if you do that, I promise you, if you support this president and his leadership vision and his command and his inspiration, I promise you that if we follow President Trump, then this is what our future will look like. The best economy in history, the strongest border in history, the proudest and most patriotic children in history, and the single greatest future in history. And we will prove worthy of this moment. We will prove worthy of this period. We will prove worthy of this opportunity given to us by Almighty God. And I swear to you, and I promise you, and I pledge to you, it will all be worth it. And our children will grow up in a world where they can say, America is stronger, more incredible, more courageous, more united, more devoted, more committed, more incredible, more exceptional, prouder, and more amazing than it has ever been before, with the leadership and the vision and the drive of our President Donald J. Trump. So I ask you all to send a message right now to all the bureaucrats, to all the radical left commies, to the criminal aliens, the foreign gangs, the transnational terrorists, to everyone who threatens the future of this country. Do you stand with President Trump? Do you support President Trump? Do you believe in President Trump? And do you believe in the future of America? Thank you. God bless you, and God bless the United States. I love you.
The 47th President of the United States of America.
And, you know, I wouldn't say Fox has been exactly perfect. Fox has been a big difference of Fox between now and what it was 4 years ago, as you know. But we have others that come along, and they're doing well, and Newsmax has been really good, and, you know, others are coming along. And people are seeing that they're watching these conservative networks.
President Trump is right. That's why millions of Americans are tuning into Newsmax for the real news they can trust.
Today is under attack. The home, the church, the government. And many people are asking, what is the truth? Jesus Christ claimed the ultimate truth. Are you willing to face the truth?
Do you think the MK Ultra project ever actually ended?
The Central Intelligence Agency is actively involved in mind manipulation.
We all answer to one God and one Savior, and He's there to change your life for the better.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the great one and his boss. Please welcome, from the Mark Levin Show, Mark Levin. And from America First Legal, Julie Strauss-Levin.
Good morning, CPAC. How's everybody today? You're looking beautiful. And I tell you what, honey, I've been here several days. The energy and the excitement in this room is unbelievable. It's hard to believe that a year has gone. Thank God we lived with 4 years of a president who tried to shove down our throats Marxism and the moral decay of the fabric of our country. And here we are. Fast forward. We got President Donald J. Trump. We have 2 genders. We have DEI gone. We have equality over equity, border crossings down 93%. And we have a world stage where America is now respected and feared. So what do you think? Give me your 2 seconds on this.
Pretty good. Next question. How is everybody? Come on, let's go. It's exciting times, is it not? Well, I was thinking about something about this cabinet that we have now, and thought to myself, we really have a cabinet that looks like America here. First of all, we have a president that knows how many grandchildren he has, and he loves every one of them. That helps. But let's look at this cabinet. We have the first, I'm sounding like a liberal. We have the first person of color as the FBI director. Have you heard them say that? No. First Cuban American as Secretary of State. The first gay Secretary of the Treasury. The first straight Secretary of Transportation in 4 years. We have one of the highest ranking African Americans, Elon Musk. We have the first hillbilly vice president, J.D. Vance. We have the first Secretary of Defense who isn't 114 years old. We have women in the cabinet who are proud to be called women and know what the hell a woman is. And then there's Donald Trump, who's on course of being the greatest president, if not modern history, all history. Look what he's done in 4 weeks.
Bravo, bravo. Give a round of applause.
And one other thing about Donald Trump. I told Donald Trump this at a Hanukkah party a few years ago. He's the greatest friend Israel's ever had. And so are you, by the way, and I want to thank you for that. He's the greatest friend Jews have ever had, so we have the first Jewish president in American history, too. Looks like America, that cabinet.
So speaking of that, first of all, I want to do a real sincere shout out to Mercy and Matt Schlapp, because their steadfast support of Israel is seen throughout this conference and day in and day out at CPAC. So we really need to thank them for that. It's really, really huge. You know, there used to be a time that depravity, murder, brutality was not acceptable to either party, when Republicans and Democrats alike were determined to eradicate the enemy. But here we are, after an October 7, where we really learned what today's Democrat Party is. It's the Republican Party, it's conservatives, it's Jews, it's Christians who really care about what's going on in Israel and are appalled at the heinous acts that happened on October 7th it's the Republicans, it's the conservatives, it's Donald J. Trump who have said Israel must conquer, Israel must win, Israel must do what it needs to do, not just to defend, but to go on offense and get rid of the enemy. So I just want to remind everybody that a year ago, I interviewed the father of a hostage victim at that time, Sagid Dekelhen, and here we are a year later. He's out. But, honey, I want you to talk about what we saw the other day with 4 bodies coming out of Israel and the joy that was exhibited by the Palestinians in Gaza as these coffins were shown.
These bastards must be eradicated. It's that simple. You don't take a 9-month-old baby and a 4-year-old little boy and their mother and torture them, strangle those kids with your bare hands, chop up their bodies so nobody they think will notice. Remember when that mother was being pulled with her kids and she knew the people doing this are subhumans. They are rabid. They're not animals. Animals don't do this. Donald Trump knows this. These are the same people who attacked us on 9/11. These are the same people who decapitated 70 black Christians in a Congo church 48 hours ago. All of them. This is the enemy. It's not about land. It's not about borders. It's not about any of that. They seek to extinguish us, these Islamist terrorists, and we're going to have to extinguish them before they even have a shot at extinguishing us. Another thing, constitutional crisis. Give me a break. The Democrat Party that hates the founders, that is pushing CRT, the 1619 Project, that tells us the Constitution's too old and too white. The Democrat Party that doesn't believe in the First, Second, Fifth, Sixth, Ninth, 10th, 14th Amendments. The Democrat Party that doesn't believe in separation of powers. We don't need lectures from them about the Constitution of the United States. That's number one. Number two, you activist judges, which are basically slip and fall, ambulance-chasing lawyers in black robes. That's what they are. You either act like judges or get the hell off the bench. You are the people destroying the Constitution. The President of the United States has a right to make personnel decisions. He has a right to make budget decisions. He has a right to restructure the bureaucracy. You know, I happen to have here a copy of the Constitution.
Not that you need it. I mean, you really do pretty much
This little baby sticks with me all the time. And let me tell you something. You know how many federal district judges are in this Constitution? None. They're created by Congress. That's right. So Congress has the power to make decisions over the executive branch. I thought it was separation of powers. Judges have the power to tell the CDC what to put on their website? How's that separation of powers? We have a big problem in this country. We can't decide if we're a constitutional republic, a federal republic, a representative republic, or a republic at all. And the truth is that if they have their way, the people who are worried about the Constitution, first of all, what Constitution are they worried about? The old Soviet Constitution? Because they're sure as hell not worried about our Constitution, that I can tell you. You can't be a Marxist and Islamist, a radical leftist, and support the Constitution of the United States. You just can't. What Elon Musk, with the leadership of Donald Trump, have uncovered is a government within a government. It's not just waste, fraud, and abuse. It is a subterranean government that is spending trillions of dollars to push a radical left agenda. And we have no help from you in the media who are attacking the very people who are uncovering the bloat and the spending and the waste and the criminality. Why the hell aren't you uncovering it? That's your damn job.
Well, and it's the same media that likes to avail itself of the First Amendment, right, when it's convenient. So,
oh, can I?
Yeah.
AP and the rest of you big corporate media, it says freedom of the press. It doesn't say freedom of the corporate press, okay? The President of the United States can decide which press he wants in the press room and which he doesn't. Who died and gave you permanent seats in the press room? NBC and ABC and CBS. Besides, we don't get news from you people. I wrote a whole book on it called Unfreedom of the Press. You're Democrats, you're leftists, we know exactly who you are, what you're doing. You can do whatever you want on your own time. You can pretend you're in the press. We're not going to shut you down. We want you out there. Why? We want the schmucks out front so everybody can see what they look like. Well, that's okay.
And not only that, what happened on November 5th? I mean, November 5th proved that the American people are not fooled by the people back there, and they know and they're able to find the truth because Americans are smart and they know American values, they know right from wrong, and no media is going to change that. So, look, we don't have a lot of time.
By the way, I know I can't stop.
No, but wait. I'm going to let you say something, but I do want to, I need you to reserve, because remember, I'm the boss here. I'm the boss.
30 seconds.
I need you to reserve time to talk about the misnomer that is birthright citizenship.
I will deal with that. Takes about 14 seconds. But
No.
You know, the media are funny, aren't they? They lied about Joe Biden. They didn't care. They didn't have any press conferences. And now they're worried about a seat at the table. They're worried about a seat for what? Let me tell you something in the media. Do we agree that Abraham Lincoln was a fantastic president?
Yes.
He was a great president. He shut down 200 newspapers. Donald Trump hasn't shut down anything. You're going broke because we, the people, are shutting you down. We're not subscribing. We're not buying your damn newspapers. We're not watching your TV shows. We support the First Amendment. We support free speech. We support freedom of the press. You don't.
How do you really feel about it, honey? No, just kidding. Okay, so now seriously, I think we need
She's pretty.
We need to talk about birthright citizenship because, again, this is a perfect example of what the left do. They take words like democracy and the Constitution, and then they exploit them because they don't really care about either of them. So they came up with this term, birthright citizenship, like anybody who comes here illegally and gives birth, that child, that baby, is an American citizen like magic. And that's not true. They cite the 14th Amendment. Do your Mark Levin thing where you give a little bit of a primer. No, because it's really important. It was so taken hostage, this paragraph in the 14th Amendment.
First of all, I wore the wrong socks, honey. I'm showing a little ankle up here. I'm not showing any more.
Okay, so I wasn't going to bring an intention to
All right, let me do it. I've been talking about this for 20 years. Read it yourself. Where's the phrase birthright citizenship in the Constitution? It's right next to abortion. It doesn't exist. So they have this invisible pen, you know, where they write these things in. The 14th Amendment was passed like the 13th and the 15th because of slavery and the Civil War. And the country came together and said, we must, in the Constitution, fix this. We must give equal rights to human beings who have been held as slaves and are now free. We must give them all the protections and rights of a citizen of the United States. Jurisdiction thereof meant the black slaves who were now free were in the jurisdiction of the United States, and all the rights and privileges, including equality and all the rest, would apply to them. It was written by Republican senators. The 14th Amendment was based, this aspect of it, based on the 1866 Civil Rights Act, the first Civil Rights Act. Andrew Johnson, who was then president after the assassination of Lincoln, was a Democrat. He refused to sign that civil rights bill. So they overrode him and they said, we need to enshrine this in the Constitution of the United States. That provision applied to black people who were freed from slavery and were still being abused in the old Confederacy. And that amendment was passed by 3/4 of the state legislatures, including southern states that were told, if you don't vote for this, you're not coming back into the Union. We know what they meant. The author of the 14th Amendment specifically rejected the idea of aliens, specifically. In fact, they rejected the idea of what they called Indians, because they had separate countries at the time, or at least it was viewed that way. So they were excluded, underscoring the fact that you had to be a United States citizen and understood to be. So people who write that, all of a sudden, now it's interpreted to mean if you come into the United States illegally and you have a baby, that's a citizen, that baby? There is literally no language to back it up, no legislative history to back it up, no history whatsoever to back it up, and yet I suspect the courts are going to give the birthright citizenship crowd what they want. And they'll mention some 1898 decision involving a Chinese couple. It still didn't apply to illegal aliens. So illegal aliens have no constitutional basis, but I will just warn you about this. Hollywood John Roberts, that's what I call him because he's worried about the press. I don't think he, and I don't think his new best friend Barrett, will do the right thing. I think they'll join the three, I can't say women, because she wouldn't say women. They won't join.
That's okay, you can say it, go for it.
Two of the non-males, and one of the males. I think that's a 5 that worries me. But just understand, your Constitution does not provide for birthright citizenship, period.
So I just want to add one little fine point, because you said a lot. You said a lot there. You notice how it's the Republican Party that consistently has been the champion of equality and the rights of black people throughout history.
Every major civil rights bill, starting in 1866 through the 50s with Eisenhower, the 60s, the Republicans either wrote it, sponsored it, or they had supermajorities to get them passed. Never forget, the Democrat Party is the party of slavery, segregation, eugenics, Jim Crow. Now they're the party of Marxism, Islamism, and anti-constitutionalism. That's a fact.
And it was Woodrow Wilson who did what? He resegregated the military when he became president.
God bless you all. Our time is up. Be well.
We love you, CPAC.
And thank you, President Trump.
In a time when the very fabric of our nation seemed under siege, one organization was willing to fight for America's principles and defend our children's future.
Joining me now, Terry Schilling, president of the American Principles Project.
This is what happens when tolerance goes too far.
It's a bit shocking to hear Democrats talk about them losing the culture war. After all, they started it.
You're denying reality, you're denying them the care that they need.
The only homicide on January 6th was the unlawful shooting death of Ashley Babbitt. This major new lawsuit that Judicial Watch filed, a $30 million wrongful death lawsuit against the United States government. She was unarmed. There were no weapons visible. She was shot in the shoulder and killed by Lieutenant Byrd. He popped out and shot her dead. Ashley was shot in cold blood, and the rule of law requires justice for her.
Every institution today is under attack. The home, the church, the government. And many people are asking, what is the truth? Jesus Christ claimed the ultimate truth. Are you willing to face the truth?
Do you think the MKUltra project ever actually ended?
The Central Intelligence Agency is actively involved in mind manipulation.
We all answer to one God and one Savior, and He's there to change your life for the better.
All right, America is back on track 2025, but next year, CPAC 2026 is going to be even bigger. Go get your tickets now. Go to cpac.org and join the movement.
As I think it was President Reagan said, we're from the government. We're here to help.
I think you all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
We're from the government. We're here to help.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
President Trump is back in the White House. Donald Trump has taken back America.
I actually started quite a while ago in CPAC, and I enjoyed it so much that I came back for a second one, then a third, then I said, what the hell, let's run for president. Matt said, it's like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. He says, you should run for politics. He's the one who said, you should run. For the presidency of the United States.
It is my honor to introduce to CPAC 2017, our president, Donald Trump.
First of all, I want to thank Matt Schlapp and his very, very incredible wife and boss, Mercedes, who have been fantastic friends and supporters, and so great when I watch them on television defending me. Nobody has a chance. I love this place. Love you people. You never stop fighting for America, and I will never, ever stop fighting for you. We know that there are still more records to be shattered, new summits to be scaled, more triumphs to be realized, and more amazing history just waiting to be written. The American adventure has only just begun. God bless America, and we will see you next year. Thank you very much. You never stop fighting for America, and I will never, ever stop fighting for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome host of the PBD podcast, Patrick Bet David.
All right. How you doing? How you feeling? Good? Okay. I got the lunchtime slot, which means some of you are either eating or wanting to go eat, but I do have a message for you. How you doing? Yes, it's great to be with you. How many of you here watch or listen to the PBD podcast? I'm curious. Okay, it's a good amount. All right, so I got a simple message for you with the limited time that I have here for you. First of all, it's an honor to be here at CPAC. This is my first time being here. Just had a chance to speak with Matt and Mercedes, incredible people. It's incredible to be around you, especially the fact that the person you wanted to win won in 2024, which is a very big deal. I got a question for you. Can you think about the 2 things tyrants fear? Let me ask the question one more time. What would you say are the 2 things tyrants running a country fear? What are the 2 things? First thing they fear is you and I having guns to protect ourselves. The second thing they fear is you and I having a megaphone to express ourselves. Now, I want you to think about this. In the last 3 weeks, I've interviewed 2 different people. One of the ones I had on the podcast 3 weeks ago, he flew in the entire time he was nervous. He was a former founder of the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. He started the IRGC with Khomeini in 1979. 3 months after I was born, I was living in Iran, and I brought him on the podcast. For many years, we've been wanting to have this man to come on the podcast, but obviously he doesn't want to come because directly and indirectly, millions of people died because of this man. If you go on Google, you type in founder of IRGC, you'll see his name and Khomeini's name. I bring him on. It's a little bit uncomfortable. I say, so let me ask you a question. When you guys took over the revolution, the Shah is gone. That's the last time the Middle East was at peace. No issues. Iran gets along with Israel. No wars. Things are good. Then you come over. You take over Iran. Khomeini flies in. You fly in. What is the first thing you guys did? He says, our #1 mission was to get all the guns out of people's hands. And I said, tell me why. He says, because we wanted to be safe. I said, safe from what? Well, we had to be careful because there was a lot of criminals who had a lot of guns. I said, citizens having guns are criminals. They're trying to protect themselves. So again, what do tyrants fear? First thing is what? Your guns, because you can protect yourself. 2 days ago, I got back from Brazil. We're flying out to Brazil to do a 3-hour interview with former President Jair Bolsonaro. How many of you guys love President Bolsonaro? So we're in Brazil. While we're about to go, they are briefing us on what to be prepared for before we go to Brazil. They say, #1, have an international lawyer ready in case something happens. #2, make sure you have an armored truck. #3, come with a good delegation. We went with 9 of us. And then we'll be escorting you all over the place. So we go and we experience everything. And then eventually the president comes. And the president sits there and we start conducting the interview. One of the most emotional interviews I've ever done. This man is crying, tears dropping on the table. I can't wait for the interview to come out this Wednesday. And I hear him speaking. About 15 minutes left for the interview to be done. Somebody comes in and is whispering in his ear, whispering in his ear. Boom. He swipes the hand. Interview ends. Doing all the stuff that he's doing. He gets out. 1 hour later, alert on the phone. Jair Bolsonaro has been charged and is facing 38 years in prison. For what? There's a judge there in Brazil. His name is Alexandre de Moraes. Anybody knows who he is? Okay. If there is a picture for someone that looks like a tyrant, it is Alexandre de Moraes. This man is a tyrant at the highest level. And he is the second man, the second point that tyrants fear is freedom of speech. I'm talking to the former president. He's not comfortable talking about certain things, but he let everything loose. He knows you can't talk. They don't want you to talk over there. So you got guns, freedom of speech, and in the world, we have 195 countries, of which 193 have constitutions. Of the 193 that have constitutions, only one country gives you full-on freedom of speech with nothing about hate speech and Second Amendment. We're the only ones here that we have in America. Now keep this in mind. Sometimes when we sit there, we hear about, next year's going to be United States birthday for 250 years. It's going to be amazing. We are one of the youngest countries in the world. It's awesome. Well, think about the oldest countries in the world. Iran, roughly 3300 BC. Egypt, 3100 BC. You got Assyria, you got Armenia, you got China, you got all these countries, right? Oldest. We are one of the youngest. But watch this here. Does anybody know what country has the oldest constitution in the world? What country has the oldest constitution in the world, including UK? We, the people, have the oldest constitution in the world. So now watch this. Some of you are clapping. You're like, I don't know what point he's trying to make here. I don't know where you're going with this. Let me give you some numbers here. Dominican Republic has changed their constitution 32 times. Venezuela 26 times. Haiti 24. Ecuador 20. Brazil's changed it 7 times in the last 100 years. While I'm there in Brazil, we're going to the airport. Our flight's at 4:30. We get there at 2 o'clock waiting. Our flight gets canceled. We have to redirect our flight. We go to Peru, and then from Peru, we fly out to Miami. And I'll never forget when we landed in Miami. It reminded me of back in July 15th of '89 when we're escaping Iran on a Lufthansa flight. And while we're going, everybody's waiting for the one magical word from the flight attendant. Anybody knows what it is? It's very simple. You can officially order alcohol. We've crossed the border. And we're like, we're free. This is amazing. We are officially out of Iran, right? So we land in Miami. I'm like, oh my God, this kind of takes me back to that moment when we left, Iran and experiencing what freedom's like. Then we get down here. And I'm sitting and I'm talking to all these different senators and congressmen in Brazil. And here's a number I noticed. I want to kind of take it back because it's very important for us to be thinking about. In Brazil, they have 11 Supreme Court justices, of which only 2 are conservative. In Brazil, they have 81 senators, of which only 22 are conservatives. In Brazil, they have 513 congressmen and women, of which only 130 are conservatives. Let me just kind of take back a little bit and talk to you guys about maybe possibly the greatest accomplishment any president's ever done. If the Supreme Court justice was the other way around, 6-3, and when they said Colorado wants to remove the president off the ballot, and they would have succeeded, Kamala Harris would have been your president today. I understand, I'm with you. But I want you to think about why this is so important. For 25 years of my life, I was an atheist. When you live in Iran, my mother's Armenian, her last name's Bogosyan, my dad's Assyrian, Bet David. I'm living in Iran, we're a Christian family trying to make it work. We're going to school, you're going to church, kind of keep it quiet. And you dream about one day coming here. You're like, oh my God, I can't wait to one day come to America. It's gonna be such a great deal to come to America. I'm sitting there kind of thinking to myself about all this stuff with Iran. And hey, the Congress, the Senate, all this stuff. You bring it to today. This man flips 3 Supreme Court justices. He doesn't do that, Kamala gets in. They would have done everything in their power they could have to prevent the president from speaking. They try to silence him. They took him all the social media sites. There's a lot of people that want to be friends with him today. Same people that silenced him. They said he can't use social media. Got off. Then you go from there, you dream about coming to America, and you sit there, you think about it, you say, oh my God, I cannot even believe the fact that I'm living in a country like this where you and I, as an atheist, you're like, maybe God this, I don't know about this, people are dying in Iran, I'm in a refugee camp in Germany for a year and a half, you come to the States, I'm a regular guy going to school, then all of a sudden I join the Army, I go to the 101st Airborne Division Air Assault, I'm in the Army, I'm in my uniform, quite honestly, I joined at first for GI Bill, and I'm standing there waiting. We're at a Labor Day, a Memorial Day, and I see one of my chief warrant officers on this side in tears. I see another colonel over here in tears. I see a sergeant first class on this side in tears. I'm like, why are these guys crying? Why are they crying? And then we go into the auditorium, they say, there's a movie coming out about your unit. You guys are gonna get a chance to watch it before the world sees it. What's the movie? Saving Private Ryan. I watched this movie at the end, I'm like, I am so proud to be an American. I am so proud to be part of the 101st Airborne Division. I am so proud to be living here. So I watched. While I'm in the Army, because of my PT score, I was able to go hang out at this one camp for 2 days where we could play pool, jump in a lake, and all this stuff. This man hands me a Bible. I'm like, sir, I'm the wrong guy to give you a Bible. He says, my parents gifted me this Bible December 24th of 1974. I think you need it more than I do. I said, I'm telling you, it's not, you don't want to give it to me. I'm the wrong guy. He gives it to me. I start praying 3 times a day. Long story short, 25 years old, life changes, God's in my life. Everything from there has been revolutionary. It doesn't even make sense to me. It's a miracle. Here's what it made me think about. How many of you remember the last time you had one of those nights where you pray for an hour and you're on your knees and nobody sees you? Who knows what I'm talking about? Anybody's ever done that before? By the way, for some of you that are devout Christians, maybe it's a normal Tuesday for you, but for those of you guys that just kind of go to church once in a while, you've only done that 3 or 4 or 5 times in your life. Does anybody relate where you don't do that often? What were you praying about in June of 2024? What were you praying about when you're sitting there? What were we thinking about? What was going on? What were the issues? Everything we're watching, what's going to be taking place? And then you mean to tell me the president is a one look away from this being assassinated, and he lives, and all these miracles happen. President Obama in 8 years flips 1 seat. Trump flips 3 seats in 1 term. You don't think God's hands on America again? By the way, the reason why I'm sharing this with you is sometimes when we start winning and we start making money and we start driving the nice cars and our candidate wins and we're like, yay, it's great and it's awesome, our paranoia goes away. Let me just prepare you for something. We got to stay paranoid. We got to stay optimistic. They're plotting their moves behind closed doors while you and I are here at this event. We got to keep recruiting the next Bobby Kennedys, the next Tulsi Gabbers, the next Elon Musk, the next Joe Rogans, the next anybody. We got to recruit them over with common sense, with values, with the way we treat them. And if we do that, the future of America will look bright like never before. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome U.S. Secretary of the Interior, Doug Burgum.
Good afternoon, CPAC. So great to be with you. We are gathered here today at a historic time, and in a few hours, you're going to have an opportunity to hear from a very historic president. Here's a name you probably haven't heard of, Buddy Melgus, Olympic gold medal sailor from Zenda, Wisconsin, grew up on a small, teeny little lake in Wisconsin. How did a kid from a small little lake in Wisconsin go on to become an Olympic sailor? He became an Olympic gold medal sailor because he understood you never have to recover from a great start. So I've got a few questions for you. In our entire U.S. history, which president has been off to the greatest start in history? Yes, okay, I can ask that a different way. Which president in American history has had the most impact in their first 33 days? Trump. And of course, we know the answer to this one. Which president right now, every hour, every day, is making America great again? There you go. I want to say thank you all for being here. This is such an important group. You are the difference makers. CPAC was the group that believed in President Trump when others didn't. You stayed with him. You worked so hard for all these years, and you were working because you supported President Trump, but you were working because you cared deeply about America. You wanted America to be better. You knew that America could reach its full potential. And now that is happening every single day, and it started here with you. Thank you, CPAC, for everything that you've done. Yes, President Trump has got a very clear and a very powerful vision on ways to make America great again, and at the center of that is energy dominance. He knows that energy dominance, when the U.S. is energy dominance, it's going to bring down inflation because energy is a component of every single product that we buy, every piece of food you eat, every vehicle you drive. He also knows that when we have energy to sell to our friends and allies, it's going to end our trade deficits. He knows it's going to create great American jobs. And he also knows that when we have energy to sell to our allies, it's going to end the wars abroad. And he is someone who wants to stop the killing. He wants to end wars. And President Trump, I believe, for that work, is going to win the Nobel Peace Prize. And this is a group that could help that happen for him. Yes, President Trump knows better than anyone that energy dominance is the foundation for American prosperity, for affordability, and world peace. The Biden administration, wow, what a mess that we've inherited. The Biden administration, at the core of everything they're doing, we're beholden to a group of climate extremists. And when those climate extremists got the Biden administration to declare war on U.S. energy, and when they declared war on U.S. energy, it didn't reduce demand. It just shifted the supply to our adversaries across the world, to places like Iran. Iran, who sold hundreds of billions of dollars of energy through ghost ships and front companies to fund 24 terror groups against us. But President Trump wants that to stop. And he's got full maximum pressure against Iran. And he'll do what he did in his first term, which is financially he'll bring that country, or the Ayatollahs, not the country, but the Ayatollahs to their knees. But back home, the climate extremists that wanted it to shut down U.S. energy, what did they do to Americans? They raised the price of everything. Electricity prices 30% higher under the Biden administration. Some of you, if you live in the Northeast, you're going to be staring at 15 to 17 to 20% increases again this summer. This is all what we've inherited. And when we have high energy costs, that hurts our economy and we deindustrialize. And that's why President Trump on day one declared a national energy emergency. It wasn't just about price at the pump. He understood the mess that Biden left us, and that's why he declared that energy emergency. And part of that solution, last Friday, He created the National Energy Dominance Council. He asked me to chair it. He asked Chris Wright to be the vice chair. And with that, with the work that we're going to be doing, it covers everything. It covers electricity, it covers oil and gas, it covers biofuels, it covers export, it covers exploration, all the things that we need to do to have our country become an energy powerhouse. But let's just talk a little bit about one of the things that were left, and that's the energy emergency, and that is our electrical grid in this country is absolutely in danger. The climate extremists worshiped an ideology that defied physics, economics, and common sense. They believed that that was the existential threat. I will tell you that there's two existential threats that this administration believes in. One was existential threat was Iran getting a nuclear weapon. That would change the world, and this administration, working with our allies, is going to make sure that doesn't happen. And the second thing is, the second existential threat is losing the artificial intelligence arms race to China. This country has shut down more electricity than China has opened in the last 12 months. And we need electricity because electricity drives AI data centers, and AI data centers manufacture intelligence. And when we manufacture intelligence, it's going to change every job, every company, every industry. It's going to make the federal government more productive. But no, what did the Biden administration do? They focused on highly subsidized, unreliable, unaffordable, and weather-dependent sources of energy. We all know, you don't have to have a PhD to know that the sun doesn't shine 24 hours a day and the wind doesn't blow 365 days a year. And yet the Biden administration was trying to convince Americans that we could run a full-time society on part-time, intermittent, and expensive power. They pushed a Green New Deal that was a lot more like a Green New Steel because it was stealing your taxpayer dollars at the same time, raising the price of electricity for all of you, raising the price of food in this country, and jeopardizing our grid. We have today, for the first time, I was in tech for 30 years before I ever ran for office. We never used more than 1% of the nation's electricity in the whole technology sector. But now with AI coming, the demand is increasing, and that's real demand with real value, not artificial demand where we say we're going to stop driving internal combustion vehicles in favor of an EV. We're going to subsidize those EVs at 15 times anything we've ever done before, and then we're going to buy our batteries from China, who control 85% of the rare earth minerals. The whole plan was crazy. But what do we have right now under President Trump? President Trump knows that we weren't in some kind of mythical energy transition. He knows that we've got to have energy addition. He also knows, because if anybody has studied Energy 101, you'd know that any quote, transition would fail because only one time in all of human history, only one time in human history have humans ever transitioned off a source of energy. It was in the 1880s. Anybody know what that was in the 1800s when we transitioned off energy? Whale oil. I heard somebody knew the answer. Yes, we transitioned off of whale oil. Whale oil became very popular because it was cleaner, but then along comes oil, and oil we could refine into kerosene, and kerosene was better than whale oil. And so who knew, but you're hearing it here at CPAC, that it was over 150 years ago, fossil fuels saved the whales. And I think we've got some t-shirt merch experts here in this room, and I just think that could make a great slogan on a t-shirt, by the way. But President Trump's got a plan for energy dominance that's going to help drive us forward. All of you know that we've got $36.5 trillion of debt because we hear it over and over again. But has anybody ever come on this stage and told you how much America's assets are? No, because nobody knows what they are. And the Biden administration is playing hide the ball. But in the Trump administration, we're going to build that balance sheet. And we have trillions and trillions of dollars worth of natural resources. And we're going to make sure that we understand that our assets far exceed the debt that we have. But before Joe Biden left office, one of the things that he did was he took 625 million acres of offshore potential, trillions of dollars of revenue potential for you, your kids, and your grandkids, and with a stroke of a pen said, we're never going to develop that. Never. It's off the table. I got it. You can boo for that if you want to, but That's literally 1/3 of the lower 48 here. He was trying to rob us of that. But he's robbing us of those revenues and also of the American dream. But President Trump got into office, and with an executive order, he reversed that ban. That 625 million acres is back on our balance sheet, including some of those acres are where? They're in the Gulf of America. One of the other falsehoods is that somehow that those climate extremists cared more about the environment than any of us in this room. And I know how deeply this group cares, and I know the people in my home state, the farmers and ranchers, 4th and 5th generation, they live on the land, they care about the soil health, they care about the water, they care about the air, and that's why in North Dakota, we had some of the cleanest air and water in the country, and we were an energy powerhouse. We can do both of these things in our country, because when you shut down U.S. energy and you push that supply overseas, you push it to places that use child labor, that don't do reclamation. They don't have any kind of regulatory environment like we have. And so it's cleaner. If you care about the environment, you want every drop of energy, every electron to be produced in the United States. That's the way to save the planet. And the Biden administration, they sanctioned Alaska 68 times with executive orders. 68 times Joe Biden issued orders that tried to shut down energy development in Alaska. They sanctioned Alaska more than they did Iran, if you can believe it. But those days are over. One of the other executive orders that President Trump signed is one not just unleashing American energy, but unleashing Alaska's potential. And when we do that, we have an opportunity to sell energy to Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, our allies in the Pacific, who we need more than ever because of the growing threat of China. So let me ask you, as we close out here today, when we talk about being energy dominant, we know that one thing that President likes to say, and I'm sure you'll hear it to say, which he wants us to drill, baby, drill, and we're gonna do that. But the U.S. Geologic Survey, which is part of Interior, we've got a job to actually go out and map those resources to find out how many trillions or hundreds of trillions of dollars of assets belong to all of you, the public. So we're gonna map, baby, map, and then we're also gonna mine, baby, mine. We're gonna mine, baby, mine, because we've got to get critical minerals developed back in our country. We can't be dependent. We're buying uranium from Russia for our nuclear plants. We have to be able to have those supply chains be right here. So we're gonna do all of that. And when we do all of that, we're gonna be able to build, baby, build. President Trump is the greatest economic developer that's ever existed. Nobody sells America better than he does. Chris Wright, my partner in this from the Department of Energy, he and I were asked by President Trump to join him when he was meeting with the Prime Minister of India and the Prime Minister of Japan. In those meetings, President Trump said to those leaders, you've got a deficit, a trade deficit with our country. We think you should solve that. What would you like to buy from us? Perhaps some energy? 30 years ago, he wrote the international bestseller, The Art of the Deal, President Trump did. I've seen him in action. Right now, every day, he's writing the sequel to that of The Art of the Deal in real time. Only, yes, he is, but he's dealing with the world leaders. They're coming to him, and they want to buy American, and we want to build American. And we know that President Trump is not only making America strong again, he's going to make America affordable again. He's helping with your help. He's fighting for the agenda, and you know what he's going to do? He's going to make America great again. Thank you, CPAC.
I switched.
I switched.
I switched.
I made the switch to Newsmax.
We start this morning in Washington, where all eyes are on the White House. I switched to Newsmax.
Newsmax. Newsmax.
Have you made the switch?
You bet I did.
My whole family switched.
Everyone is making the switch. I did.
I did.
I switched, and it made all the difference.
It made all the difference.
Have you made the switch? You should.
Millions are switching to Newsmax. You should too.
America is under attack. Our families are being crushed under the politics of a radical agenda. But moms have had enough. We are standing up and we are fighting back.
This is our battle. This battle is every bit as important as the Revolutionary War because we fight for the same thing.
Moms for America is a national movement of moms reclaiming our culture for truth, family, freedom, and the Constitution.
I think Moms for America is exactly on track and is doing the right thing for the future of our country and our children.
Like Moms for America is going at the heart of the issue.
I want to go on the record and say I'm for moms, I'm for America, and I'm especially for Moms for America.
But I am honored to join Moms for America today as we speak out against the horrific mandates.
With a national network of over 500,000 mothers, Moms for America is one of the fastest growing movements of women in the country.
Well, the most dangerous place in all of nature is between a mama bear and her baby cub.
We are the change. No matter what, no matter where, and no matter how difficult the obstacles are that are facing us and our families, we will not give up and we will not give in.
So if not now, then when? If not you, then who?
Welcome to the Mom-Led Revolution.
Freedom, sovereignty, prosperity. The Patriots for Europe Foundation is on a mission to make Europe great again. Globalist elites have led Europe into a dead-end street. Violent crime has surged because of mass immigration. The Green Deal has put the future of the European economy at risk. Fake NGOs and the massive bureaucracy in Brussels are interfering in our democracies. Patriots must take action. We bring analysis, we organize debates, we build the network of patriots to challenge the woke narrative head on. Patriots for Europe Foundation.
America is under attack. Our families are being crushed under the politics of a radical agenda. But moms have had enough. We are standing up and we are fighting back.
This is our battle. This battle is every bit as important as the Revolutionary War because we fight for the same thing.
Moms for America is a national movement of moms reclaiming our culture for truth, family, freedom, and the Constitution.
I think Moms for America is exactly on track and is doing the right thing for the future of our country and our children.
Like Moms for America is going at the heart of the issue.
I want to go on the record and say I'm for moms, I'm for America, and I'm especially for Moms for America.
But I am honored to join Moms for America today as we speak out against the horrific mandates.
With a national network of over 500,000 mothers, Moms for America is one of the fastest growing movements of women in the country.
Well, the most dangerous place in all of nature is between a mama bear and her baby cub.
We are the change. No matter what, no matter where, and no matter how difficult the obstacles are that are facing us and our families, we will not give up and we will not give in.
So if not now, then when? If not you, then who?
Welcome to the Mom-Led Revolution.
Every institution today is under attack. The home, the church, the government. And many people are asking, what is the truth? Jesus Christ claimed the ultimate truth. Are you willing to face the truth?
Do you think the MK Ultra project ever actually ended?
The Central Intelligence Agency is actively involved in mind manipulation.
We all answer to one God and one Savior. And He's there to change your life for the better.
Freedom, sovereignty, prosperity. The Patriots for Europe Foundation is on a mission to make Europe great again. Globalist elites have led Europe into a dead-end street. Violent crime has surged because of mass immigration. The Green Deal has put the future of the European economy at risk. Fake NGOs and the massive bureaucracy in Brussels are interfering in our democracies. Patriots must take action. We bring analysis, we organize debates, we build the network of patriots to challenge the woke narrative head on. Patriots for Europe Foundation.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Maha Unchained. Please welcome physician Dr. Robert Malone and Epoch Times senior editor Yanya Kellick.
Wow, Dr. Robert Malone, you know, one of the most... Yeah, everybody, bring it up for Dr. Robert Malone. Probably one of the best-known contrarian voices during the COVID pandemic, arguing for rational policy during the pandemic. But I know him best as a rancher of horses and emus.
And welcome my friend Yanya Kellick. You may remember that I spoke about Jan's leadership in the Epoch Times at CPAC 3 years ago. And I think without CPAC, without Epoch Times, we might not be where we are right now. It's been my pleasure to build a friendship with Jan and to participate in his fantastic series, American Thought Leaders, and our little fun series of clips that we called Fallout.
That's right.
So I'm wearing a bow tie today, not my usual attire, in honor of Dr. Peter Hotez. You'll recall that Peter Hotez last December darkly muttered about the fact that as soon as President Trump was in office, there was going to be a series of virus outbreaks, of threatening viral events that were going to cause him a lot of grief, and to focus on responding to those. But instead, what we have is two amazing things that happened on the same day.
Well, so who here noticed that the new HHS secretary is Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? Two things happened that day. First, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was sworn in, and second, there was an executive order signed by President Trump that established a commission to look at child chronic disease. A 1-2 punch that, in our view, is kind of revolutionizing the future of health. Robert.
I agree. So what is this thing, MAHA? Make America Healthy Again. What does that really mean? Those of us that have kind of been in the sausage-making process have a pretty good sense, but let's go to what President Trump has defined as MAHA in this amazing executive order. And what he's laid out, the mission he's laid out for my friend, your friend too, Bobby Kennedy, this amazing new Secretary of HHS that, I mean, can you believe this? He's both a bodybuilder and a biohacker. That's what we have as our secretary. And so what is MAHA? A key factor in this is a refocusing of the entire government health enterprise from a focus on disease treatment to a focus on health promotion. And I really recommend that all of you take a moment to read President Trump's executive order creating the MAHA Commission, which is across government. It even includes Treasury. It's an amazing document in which he talks about the crisis of health in America, the crisis of chronic disease in America, but in particular, it zeroes in on Bobby Kennedy's sweet spot, protecting the health of children in America. It talks about child's health. It talks about the epidemic we have now of all kinds of chronic diseases, including autism in our children, and it talks about the over-medication with Ritalin and all these other drugs. We're basically drugging our children into obedience and oblivion using these agents, getting them to be complacent in the schools so they don't cause trouble, making it easier to control them. That has got to stop. And that is the mission of the Make America Healthy Again movement, is to, within 12 to 18 months, this is the president's mandate, within 12 to 18 months, Bobby Kennedy has got to show measurable improvements in public health for American citizens. Now that is a tall order. And to do that, he's got to let loose, frankly, he's got to let loose the dogs of war. He's got to let loose the whole federal bureaucracy, transform it, and take this new leadership team that he's created under Donald Trump's direction and completely radically transform CDC, FDA, NIH, work with his partners at USDA to enable the health of Americans, and particularly the health of Americans' children.
So, but Bobby Kennedy, okay, Bobby Kennedy did not work alone. Okay, and MAHA was actually something that existed in America already, a kind of subculture, one that I didn't even know very much about, that I discovered on American Thought Leaders, you know, throughout COVID. All these people that had been, you know, hit by reality in some way. Maybe they had a child that had been vaccine injured. Maybe they were poisoned by something. And millions of Americans basically were not, many of us were just simply not aware that there was this growing movement of people that were looking at root causes of health. And Bobby was kind of a central figure in this. So him coming in as the HHS secretary, I mean, this is in terms of budget, the largest of the departments.
Yes,
right?
Well, except for defense. But China went through a MAHA movement itself at one point in time. Isn't that right? And what happened?
100%. And so this is what dawned on us as we were preparing for this session. You know, back in the 90s in China, there was the health system had actually collapsed a little bit like what's been happening here. Okay, and these traditional methods of called Qigong, or kind of a Chinese yoga, became incredibly popular in China. The most popular was Falun Gong, and some of you will know that the founders of Epoch Times were Falun Gong practitioners. 70 to 100 million people were getting healthy. Okay, they were getting awards for getting healthy. And what did the regime do in 1999? They decided to crush this health and spiritual movement. So, I mean, this is something that totalitarians do. This is the other part that I realized. Totalitarians do not like healthy people, right? And it's a kind of a mindset. So, here we are.
So, China now is not only crushing its own health promotion movement, but they're promoting bad health in the United States. Talk to us about fentanyl.
Well, so, okay, how many of you noticed that we have a new FBI director? Kash Patel, of course. One of the things that Kash kept talking about as he was going through his nomination hearings, okay, he said 100,000 Americans a year are dying of CCP fentanyl, and that is going to be one of the priorities of the FBI, okay? So that is the Make America Unhealthy Again movement. But we also have to have our own kind of individual agency here. We can't let Kash have to deal with this entire problem, or our foreign policy establishment deal with the entirety of that.
So if we have enough time, we'll talk a little bit about things that can be done about fentanyl. I think it's one of the clear things that HHS can do together in partnership with the other agencies, and particularly the FBI and Kash, to help make America healthy again within measurable responses within 12 to 18 months. But let's talk for a moment about what is public health. We all hear about public health, okay? Today's public health is not about medicine. It's not about the physician-patient relationship. It's not about empowering patients to take control of their own health, which is what we need to do in the day of Maha. What we don't need is top-down management of what you are able to do, what your doctor tells you to do based on the government's mandates and your insurance company's profit. Okay, we have to get back to decentralized health under the control of you, the patient. But what do we have right now in public health? Public health is basically grounded in utilitarianism. It is functionally socialism. It is the logic of the greatest good for the greatest number. That is absolutely the centerpiece of modern public health, and it's based on big data. It's based on big data analysis of what on average is best for you, and then a top-down approach to cause you to comply with what the numbers say under close analysis is best for you. And as a consequence, public health has destroyed the practice of medicine. This is why your docs have no options. They have to treat you based on protocol because that's what public health is saying they have to do. Public health has taken over medicine. And as I say, it is focused on outcomes, optimizing outcomes, the best outcomes for all of us. What it needs to do is focus on opportunity. What we need to do is enable you to have the opportunity to choose whether or not to optimize your own health and have the information to do it. But what we don't need is public health telling us that we can't eat McDonald's hamburgers and drink Coca-Cola. What we need is the information so that you can make an informed decision about what you eat and what you do to manage your health, not to tell you and micromanage you about what your choices have to be.
And the bottom line of this, and think about this, okay? Inalienable individual rights. One of the core things America is based on, a core element of freedom. This approach, this CCP, Chinese Communist Party approach, what happened during COVID? They locked down. They used the totalitarian method. They used the collective rights method. What's apparently going to be better for the greater good. But what happens when you use that collective rights approach? Every time, to paraphrase Stalin here, okay, to make an omelet, you have to break a few eggs. And it turns out to be a lot of eggs, unfortunately. So we got to get back to this approach of individual rights, individual agency, and the Hippocratic Oath on the medical side.
So there's an insidious thing that's happened. They've snuck some stuff in while Bobby was busy focused on confirmation. They've snuck in a UN Agenda 2030 item called One Health. Okay? The CDC surreptitiously agreed to the One Health policies of the World Economic Forum and the United Nations and the World Health Organization. What is One Health? Who's against One Health? Of course, we all think that animals should be healthy and the environment should be healthy, just like the Secretary was talking about with U.S. policy. But in One Health, your health is equivalent to the health of animals. Your health is equivalent to the health of a lab rat. And I had somebody post the other day, we put out an essay today about One Health and what it really means, and they said, hey, I'll be glad to sacrifice a lab rat if I can have a focus on my grandmother and improving her standard of living. In One Health, the health of animals and the health of the environment are considered equivalent to the health of humans, and this has now been slipped in this policy that's right up there with the Green New Deal while the new administration was distracted. Something that was in progress for 2-3 years under the Biden administration, they managed to sneak in. They managed to sneak in the new director of pandemic preparedness, a veterinarian who is the associate dean of One Health at Texas A&M, before Bobby even had a chance to sit in the chair. And this is what Bobby really needs your help with. This is what Maha needs your help with. is he is going to be up against an entrenched bureaucracy that is going to fight him tooth and nail every step of the way. And the only way that we're going to be able to get sustainable change is we have to have all of us, the citizens of the United States, saying, we support you, we support a focus on health in Americans, and we are not okay with this globalist agenda of one health, and we are not okay with the bureaucracy sneaking stuff in behind his back. Now, we only have a little bit of time left, but let's talk a little bit about bird flu.
Well, so how many have noticed egg prices have gone through the roof? How many? Okay, front page of the Epoch Times, okay, the national edition, you should check it out. It's unbelievable, right? But what is the reason? You might think, looking at mainstream media headlines, that it's because bird flu has killed 55 million birds. No, people have killed 55 million birds in an attempt to stop the bird flu, but that's not necessarily the only way to do it.
So bird flu has been around for years. I think this is our 4th episode of fear, of promoted fear about bird flu. And it never materializes, it never transfers into humans so far. Let's hope that continues to be the case. But now, even according to the CDC, bird flu is not a major risk for humans. It doesn't transmit from human to human. It's not putting people in the hospital, and they're not dying at any kind of a rate. Bird flu needs to be controlled, but the policies of the USDA, which now have cost you $1.2 billion, and that's direct costs for the USDA to compensate farmers that have had to kill their flocks, and it's not working. That is the old school way to control outbreaks. But bird flu is in all the birds. It's in migratory waterfowl. We cannot eradicate bird flu. So we got to think of something different instead of this, you know, give a 3-year-old a hammer and everything becomes a nail. That is what USDA bureaucrats keep applying. I argue that instead of vaccinating chickens with a Zoetis mismatched leaky bird flu vaccine, heard anything like that before? Say COVID, okay, which will drive the evolution of more vaccine-resistant bird flu strains. We need to rethink this whole strategy. And what I advocate, and I can tell you, I hear rumor that this is being actively considered in the administration right now, and we may hear some announcements about this, is there's going to be a rethinking of how we approach this. And personally, I like the idea that we let loose the chicken industry to breed flu-resistant chickens and turkeys and ducks, rather than trying to jab them all with crummy vaccines or kill them all because they get infected. That's just one example of what can happen if MAHA is unchained.
Well, and everyone, I think we've run out of time here. The bottom line is, let's focus on root causes of health. Keep that in your mind. This is what MAHA is all about, and let's make America healthy again. Thank you, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the CPAC straw poll. Please welcome CPAC Chairman Matt Schlapp, and from McLaughlin and Associates, Jim McLaughlin.
This way I can follow him. They gave us chairs. Huh? Had chairs.
All right, Jim, this is your big moment. By the way, do you all know one of the great things? Can we just start off by saying a warm round of applause to the fantastic competence of the Trump for President campaign
Yeah, without a
Susie
doubt.
Wiles, Chris LaCivita, Michael Watley at the RNC. What a difference a campaign can make. And Jim and John McLaughlin on the polling. Thank you, Jim, for your great work.
And you know what? We've been with President Trump from the very beginning. Believe it or not, he talked about running back in 2011. And I can tell you, this campaign was head and shoulders above, better than anything we ever did in the past. And I can't tell you that Matt is exactly right. Susie Wiles, Chris LaCivita, Chairman Watley, and I don't think I've ever complimented an RNC chairman